Good afternoon, class. I'm Shirley Fils-May. I'm a fellow student here at Montgomery College, and my major here is business. So I'm excited to be able to introduce our special guest speaker today, Mrs. Monica Spruill. But before we get started and I introduce her, I just had a question to ask you guys. I wanted to know if you guys knew exactly what you guys were going to do with your business degree after school, after you graduate. Don't be shy. Raise your hands. You know what you're going to do with your degrees?
You want me to tell you?
Sure.
Okay. I want I'm still debating between supply chain management and healthcare management.
Nice.
Meaning opening up my own healthcare facility.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Anybody else? Any other hands?
Nonprofit. I'm working with you already know.
Great, great. Anybody else? Don't be shy. Okay, well, it's cool. We are so privileged to have with us Mrs. Monica Spruill this afternoon to talk to us about, as part of our 2016 Accenture College Lecture Series on roles of business and major in healthcare. So Mrs. Monica Spruill is a senior executive with more than 25 years of experience across the spectrum of marketing and communications, from brand management to media relations to social and digital strategy. Mrs. Spruill currently serves as a global marketing associate director for Accenture's multi-billion-dollar healthcare practice. She is responsible for developing and executing channel strategies to differentiate healthcare management and technology consulting offerings and making Accenture a highly preferred target in 8 different countries. She leads a team of 20 marketing professionals. She leads a team of 20 marketing professionals and manages a $7.5 million budget. Additionally, Mrs. Spruill serves as an operating group North America marketing business partner, helping with the growth strategy in the U.S. and in Canada. And other distinguished roles, including being the first ever marketing director at the Public Library for Washington, D.C., the head of marketing department for the U.S. Air Force in Okinawa, Japan, and as a public affairs political appointee in the Clinton administration. You go, girl. And she served at HHS and HUD. Mrs. Spruill holds a BS in marketing, from Hampton University to Real HU. And an MBA with a specialization in marketing from Pace University. She has been asked to speak to a variety of audiences about marketing, business, and leadership, including Montgomery College, the State Department, Thurgood Marshall College Fund, UNCF, and George Mason University, just to name a few. So if you would like to take out your pen and notepads and take some notes, we are now going to present Mrs. Monica Spruill.
Thank you so much for offering to introduce me to the class. You did a beautiful job. And I could not be more pleased to be joining you all here and talking about what your future can look like, particularly if you choose to go into the healthcare industry. And, they say that the brain is a beautiful thing. It starts working the moment you're born and never stops until you start to speak in public. So let's see if my brain continues to work as it should. So thank you to Professor Foster, thank you to Dr. Cujo for inviting me to be part of this important educational experience. Before I start, I just want to let you know that I did a little research about Montgomery College, and I was really blown away by how diverse this population is, how well it prepares its students to go out and to pursue any type of career that you choose. You are very, very well served by this college, and you should be proud to be associated with it. So let's get into, is this my clicker right here? Okay, let's get into what I want to talk to you all about and what I hope you're able to take away. So first, my goals for this talk are 3. I want to set the context for the so what about the healthcare industry. I want to reframe how you think about the industry, including changing any perhaps preconceived notions that you may have about this industry. And then I want to help you think critically about where you might fit into the industry if you think that this is a place where you can grow your career. And while we could do an entire semester on healthcare as an industry, I'm focusing really on the intersection of you as business majors and what your prospects could be within this growing industry. Let me start by making a declarative statement. Healthcare is a business. It is big, big business, and you are going to find this out as I go through my talk, and you're probably, I hope, going to see new and interesting things about this. So among industries, healthcare is one of the last industries on the planet to go digital and to transition to modern times. And did you know that this transition has only happened within the last 10 to 15 years? Amazing. Not long ago, many hospitals had thousands of square feet dedicated to housing paper copies of our records. All of you were born during that time, where when you went into the doctor's offices, they had to go and they had to find your paper file, handwritten notes. So let's pivot to what healthcare looks like today. I take pride in knowing that my child's record is now going to follow her throughout her entire life. She can walk into a hospital, and with a few clicks, the staff there is going to know, it doesn't matter what hospital, the staff is going to know about her allergies, about her fitness, about anything that they need to know so that they can treat her for whatever it is she's there for. This sounds simple, but things like this can be life or death. And imagine what it was like 15 years ago. You could not do that. You had to be conscious, you had to be able to tell doctors what it is, what your medical, record or background was. So these are stats that I say make you go hum. $2.9 trillion. That is only the U.S. healthcare market. Does it surprise anybody? Can I see a show of hands? How many that surprises? Yeah. The rate of healthcare administrator jobs, the growth, is 23% between now and 2024. And the number of medical and health service managers in 2014 was 333,000. That is one job area, just one within the healthcare industry. And in 2014, 333,000. So you can only imagine the number of other career fields there are in the healthcare industry that you could go into, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And make no mistake, healthcare is one of the fastest growing industries globally, not just in the United States. It was mentioned in the introduction that the healthcare business at Accenture that I lead the marketing for is global. So what we do is we serve clients, we could serve clients in dozens and dozens and dozens of countries, but you'd need endless resources, endless numbers of people to do that. But right now, I oversee marketing for the US, the UK, Norway, Brazil, Singapore, Australia, Japan, and Saudi Arabia. Okay? All of these countries have healthcare as a primary focus of of their growth, and they see it as an industry that if they don't get it right, their national economies, their citizens are going to be at risk. So it's very much a priority. Before I go headlong into what I see as exciting opportunities for you all and to deliberate as you begin to make long-term career decisions, let's understand what the industry means. So on this chart, what you see are many different areas within the healthcare industry. So for those of you who can't see it, so novel pharmaceuticals, generic pharmaceuticals, advanced medical devices, software and IT services, equipment and supplies, health service, insurance, equipment wholesale, laboratory and diagnostics, drug retail. Does it surprise anybody how many different discrete areas make up the entire healthcare industry, healthcare market? It's a lot more than maybe if you'd just been asked, tell me what are the top 3. Here you can see so many different areas. The healthcare industry is big, it's broad, and it consists of a diversified set of areas that may appeal to you. Within Accenture, we concentrate on working with clients who are in 2 of these, let me back up, within Accenture Health. So Accenture has a number of different industry practices. We have the life sciences practice that handles the pharmaceutical side of things. We have the products practice, which handles the devices and whatnot. So where I stand within the health practice. And within the health practice, back on this page, you see where it says insurance and health service. That's the position that I'm going to, speak from today. Okay? So if you look at the insurance health plans, they accounted for $406 billion in revenue last year. Okay, these are the top plans many of you know of, have heard of, or are even covered by these plans. Big, big business. And then there are the providers, what we call providers, but they are the hospitals, the doctor's offices, the networks that your doctor participates in, and they accounted for $136 billion in revenue just in the United States. We're only talking US here. You all are going to get these slides, so you'll be able to take a look. One of the reasons why I put these slides into the presentation was so that you would have an opportunity after the presentation is over to go through and look to see, what kinds of companies you may want to dig a little bit deeper into and see if what jobs they offer. I'm a big believer in going to somebody's website and searching their career section and seeing what kind of jobs they're looking for, what kind of talent that they're looking for, because what that does is if you find a few positions that are of interest to you, you can then dig a little bit deeper and look to see what are the requirements for filling a job like that. What type of education do you have? What type of, or would you have to have? What kind of experience would you need in order to qualify for a position like that? So let's talk a little bit more about the healthcare industry, particularly payers and providers. There are lots of push-pull influencers that are impacting the healthcare market. I'm not going to drain this slide. The purpose of this isn't to go, segment by segment, but it's really to illustrate that managing this portfolio of influencers takes, guess who? Business-minded people. These are not doctors who are handling these changes, these influencers who are dealing with costs, who are dealing with customer centricity, who are dealing with changes in coverage and utilization. Aging baby boomers and the Affordable Care Act are among the fastest driving factors in the market. The Bureau of Labor Statistics expects that they'll overtake state and local government and professional and business services in terms of employment share over the next decade. In plain speak, jobs, lots of jobs. They expect, the Bureau of Labor Statistics expects that this market will add almost 4 million jobs over the next decade. Again, when we talk about jobs in the healthcare market, in the insurance or payer and provider segment, only a segment of those jobs are doctors and nurses and technicians and whatnot. The rest of those jobs are filled by business people, people who have business backgrounds, people who have some level of technology background, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about the role of technology. So with industry dynamics changing rapidly, things like digital disruption, something called consumerism, virtual medicine, electronic medical records, those are the types of issues, real current issues that these business leaders are facing. And a healthcare executive who runs a search firm said, quote, executives with strong consumer marketing experience even from other industries can target healthcare companies looking to bolster their executive strength in that area. And cybersecurity is another area where healthcare companies are recruiting executives. Let's revisit what I said a few moments ago. Most of the transition to digital in the healthcare market has occurred in the last 10 to 15 years. And this after 100 years of just doing it paper-based, right? Something called digital disruption, where industries, remember I said the healthcare industry is among the last of the industries to go digital. Digital disruption, where you have technology racing forward, but you have an industry that has not yet embraced it, or an industry that is slow to embrace it, gets disrupted. What does that mean? That means that if you're a company and you've been doing things the same way for the last 75 years, and then you have these three guys and gals over here who are young entrepreneurs who say, you know what, I think I can make an app that will, help people find what's the best doctor out there for them to go to for these 5 treatable diseases. And then boom, this app comes up, and the doctor's office or a network that has traditionally just, maybe put a few ads out there or done, word of mouth to say, if you have one of these issues, come to us, we'll help treat you. All of a sudden, the person who has The issue has more choice. They don't just have to go to the same doctor, the same network that they've been going to before, because they now have a broader knowledge of the network. That's an example of digital disruption, where you take something that's been created that offers choice or that offers a new way of thinking about the industry. You insert it into the industry, which is kind of stodgy already, and you have companies, big companies, who are going to get digitally disrupted. Since 2000, 52% of the Fortune 500 companies on the S&P are no longer there. You all know what the Standard & Poor's is? Standard & Poor's is a rating agency. So big companies are getting disrupted because of consumer expectations, new entrants to the market, like I said, and changes in issues. Change is happening faster and faster. The lifespan of companies that are on the Standard & Poor's index is lessening. In 1920, it used to be 67 years a big company could stay on the S&P. Now it's 15. And the only way that they stay on there is that they keep up with the pace of change. And healthcare isn't immune. Healthcare is an industry that is, as you can see where its placement is facing the most digital disruption within the next 3 years. Okay? What does this spell for you as business majors? Anybody want to throw out a guess?
They need innovative technologies to keep up with current digital advancements.
Innovative technologies to stay up to date with changing dynamics in the market. Great answer. Anybody else? Yes.
I see it as a new opportunity for a lot of risk takers to kind of delve into the technology and the healthcare side and kind of use that to either create a bridge between technology and healthcare, or just, I don't know, be the face of that technology.
Excellent, excellent. Risk takers.
But yeah, risk takers is, yeah.
Very good. Who else? In addition to those superb answers, for you it means opportunity and it means choice. If you think back to the slide where I showed you all of the different segments that comprise the healthcare market, and you think about the different challenges that are affecting the market and what business leaders are needing to address in order to keep their companies and their networks at the front and not, get pulled down. So we're going to dig a little bit deeper into what those opportunities. But Sue Brody, who's the president and CEO of Bayfront Health System in St. Petersburg, Florida, says information technology is emerging as a key skill set for hospital leadership teams. Specifically, the nation's focus on electronic health records and other innovations that are being made in the area of medical technology demand a high proficiency and interest in this area. So, anybody catch on to the fact that so far I've not really talked about, medical procedures, or not really kind of talked about, staffing, hospitals? What am I talking about?
Business opportunities.
And technology. Technology. So Accenture puts out a report every year about the tech trends that really are going to be, that are future forward, that really spell what technology is going to look like in various industries, going forward. Because digital and technology is becoming integral to healthcare, we're going to look briefly at what Accenture has identified as 5 leading trends for the market, and they're focused on evolving the consumer experience, care delivery methods, and career development opportunities in the healthcare workforce. So intelligent automation, people times machines. So data can help clinicians make informed decisions through computer-assisted algorithms and get the right supply to the right place at the right time. Who said that they were interested in supply chain? I heard that. Supply chain. Pay attention to that one, because that's what it's about. It's automation in the healthcare industry. Not something that's intuitive, not something that any of us on our own would have thought, automate healthcare, okay? And apps, the comment about apps can, to deliver turn-by-turn directions in a clinic, from your door to the visiting room, and health plans on the insurance side can use intelligent automation to help guide consumers in making decisions about the best plans for them and their family. The liquid workforce, crowdsourcing plus culture plus being change ready. So this emergent fluidity requires some shifts in how the healthcare enterprise is structured, how people are trained, how the culture adapts to new technology enabled ways, and the benefits that are derived from these changes. And then organizations can launch innovations faster. Crowdsourcing. Any of you all been involved in crowdsourcing before? If you haven't, look it up. Find out what it is. This is part of that innovation wave where people are not just, using what's already in their brain, but they're getting others to join them in figuring out, solutions. 76% of healthcare respondents believe a more fluid workforce will improve innovation. Okay? And 42% of the healthcare workforce is going to comprise contractors or freelancers or internal temporary positions in 3 years. Those of you who might be interested in human resources as a final destination, you want to learn more about liquid workforce and what that's projected to be. Somebody keep me on time, please. I just want to make sure that I'm not going to run over. Platform economy. So this is cloud, application programming interfaces, Internet of Things, open source, and business models. The business models part is the traditional, the finance, the strategy, and whatnot. Everything else before that has to do with technology and digital. So imagine a future when healthcare consumers are going to go to one central place to book an appointment, to check their electronic medical record, to pay an out-of-pocket expense. That's a platform that different applications are going to be able to sit on that will connect everything together and allow for, what have I said before? Consumer experience. So those of you who are interested in going into marketing, anybody interested in going into marketing? Yes? Okay. This is for you. This is in not the technology part, but working with the technologists, working with the business leaders to understand how you create business models that speak to what the consumers are expecting and what the consumers are desiring. Because let me tell you something, one of the things that has the healthcare market on its heels is what consumers have come to expect when you book hotel rooms online, when you go to Amazon and you're able to search and get anything that you want at your doorstep a couple of days later. You name it, the convenience, the interoperability, the ability to do what you need to do through technology has caught up to the healthcare industry. The healthcare market is straining to catch up with other industries and then hopefully advance. Requires business minds along with technologies, right? Okay. So 39% of healthcare executives believe adopting a platform-based business model and engaging in ecosystems of digital partners are very critical to the success of their business. And there's 10 times growth expected for healthcare application programming interfaces in the next 5 years. Anybody interested in going into technology, some sort of using your business degree to pursue a technology or digital? Yeah? Okay. Maybe more of you will by the time I'm done with this presentation, I don't know. Predictable disruption. So disruption can be a game changer if a business can predict it. So what type of business degrees, what type of business leaders really kind of help with predicting change? Anybody? Statisticians, folks who are economists. Those are also, business degree related, because some of you may get a 4-year degree in business with a general business degree, and some of you may leave here and go to a 4-year college and specialize in a particular area. My hope is that through this presentation, not only will you understand what opportunities there exist in this giant market, you'll also understand that you can use the business degree foundation that you're getting and then specialize in an area that's going to be targeted for your growth and prosperity. So 86% of healthcare executives agree that organizations are increasingly pressed to reinvent themselves and evolve their business before they're disrupted from the outside or by their competitors. I'll give you one quick example of what this looks like. What disruption, not necessarily digital disruption, but what disruption. By show of hands, how many of you in the last 2 years have had an illness, something come up, and you've walked into a CVS or a Walgreens or a Rite Aid into the urgent care office? Come on, raise them up high. Okay, all right. That is disruption. Why? Because your doctor, who has treated you since you were this high, expects that when you have a cold, you're going to do what? Call them up and do what? Make an appointment. Guess what's happening now? Who has time to wait to go and get slotted into your doctor's book? When you can just get in the car, drive 3 blocks to CVS, punch in your stuff, wait, read a magazine, go in, get the prescription. Get the prescription. You don't have to go anywhere else to get the prescription. Get the prescription you need, go home and get back in bed. So now your doctor is doing this, right? That's disruption. Yes?
So I have a question. Wouldn't that disruption also be, wouldn't that be influenced by your insurance plan to begin with, provided your insurance plan does cover your visit to the urgent care?
Yes. So now we're talking. That's a great question. So the question was, doesn't your insurance dictate where you can go? Is that the essence of your question? Okay. Yes. And now here we are talking about two different sides of the health market. So the provider market is wondering why the phone isn't ringing. And the insurance side of the market is saying, hey, we need to, if we don't offer more variability in where people can go to, get those sniffles or get that flu taken care of, then somebody next open enrollment, what are they going to do? Drop us. And they're going to go to somebody who has a wider network. So you see how disruption works on both sides? It's driven by consumer expectations, and it's driven by people like CVS WellCare and others who said, this model has been around for 100 years. There's big business. Why not have people walk into our stores, get what they need, get the prescription, get a, couple of other things. They're going to need some soup because they're sick, and they're going to need some orange juice. So let me go over to the refrigeration case, and so what does that mean? Money. Big business. Okay. Top 3 industries that these healthcare executives believe will face the most digital disruption within the next 3 years: healthcare, banking, and biotechnology. And then finally, digital trust. This is the ethics part, the ethics and the cybersecurity. So ecosystems are expanding the number of potential weak links in the digital chain. Anybody gotten a notice that your information, your credit card information, or your family's credit card information has been compromised? If you shopped at this retailer or that retailer, right? That's cybersecurity. Those are our risks. This is a long shot, I realize. Who knows what is the most valuable information traded on the black market? Take a guess. Yes.
Stock information?
Stock information. Yes.
Like donors, anything dealing with health, I think.
Donors. Okay. Yes.
I'm just going to take a guess over here. I'm going to say medical information, medical records.
Yes, that's exactly right. Your healthcare information, your medical records, is the most valuable thing on the black market. Yes?
Well, you said earlier that the healthcare system is having disruption because we can't really catch up to the technology aspect of having everything available right there on our screens. And I was wondering, isn't that a privacy issue? Because if we make it available for consumers to see their health record online, we have security breach problems, and that's goes against HIPAA and all of our other privacy.
That's a great point. Everybody able to hear that? So whether you're talking about the healthcare industry or the banking industry or the credit card industry, what are the two forces that are countervailing? They are fighting each other. Convenience and security. Everybody wants convenience, but it comes at the cost of security. The more convenience you have, the harder it is to secure it, right? So there are trade-offs that have to be made, and industries, banking industry, all of these industries, airline industry, they all have to make these trade-offs, right? And it's something that there's no magic bullet. You're going to get the answer right on Monday. The following Monday, there's going to be another issue. So it is, there's job security in cybersecurity. Let's just put it that way. Okay? So then, so what does that mean for, for careers? How can you fit into this business that's called healthcare? There are a lot of paths to take. I hope that I've illustrated that throughout my talk, that there are a lot of paths to take, a lot of areas that you can use your business degree as is, or a business degree with a specialization, or a business degree with an MBA, or a business degree with a Master's of Public Administration or Public Health, or a business degree plus, okay? I took a shot at coming up with as many different job areas and general job titles I could that reflect where you could insert yourself into this business. So we've already so let's, we talked about supply chain. That's, that's hospitals. Sales. For those who might be interested in going into sales, there's pharmaceuticals. I have friends who have very large houses because they have been in pharmaceutical sales. So for those of you who are more, I guess, interested in having a nice bank account, look at pharmaceutical sales. Strategy. How do you create value for clients? How do you maybe work for a company like Accenture, and then you work with hospitals and insurance companies? Before I came here, I was downtown at America's Health Insurance Plans. It's the largest organization for healthcare insurers. And I was talking to one of my colleagues, and I was telling him that I was coming to talk to you all. And he said, tell them that just yesterday I was sitting down with a client, and I told the client, you just left $400 million on the table. I'm going to help you figure out how to recoup that value. Those are the kind of cool things you could do if you're interested in going into strategy or finance or, or other areas. And so I would just, just sort of emphasize that digital technology, anything having to do with those two, or IT, you'll never be looking for another job if you get, training in those areas. I really suggest that you take some courses there. You will make yourselves very, very, very attractive in the job market. And with that, I would like to say congratulations to you all for pursuing your education. It's not easy. I remember being in classrooms saying, when am I ever going to graduate? You will. I promise you will. And everybody will be there cheering you on. Keep up the good work, because at the end of a degree is amazing prospects. You really can go in any direction you choose to go in. And I just really commend you for having the fortitude, and I commend you for choosing Montgomery College. And good luck. I hope I run into you. Thank you.